Hello everyone. This playthrough is something I've wanted to do for a really long time. In this video, we're playing Battle of Olympus, but not just to beat it, we're playing it to learn Japanese. First, we have to name our hero and heroine. Then we can jump into the game's starting point of Arcadia, peaceful forested land of plenty, and, at least in this game, home of Zeus. What you'll see in this playthrough is the original Japanese game text broken down step by step. Line by line, word by word, we'll look at the original Japanese as written in-game, using the limited ability to handle Japanese text at the time. This game is actually ahead of many of its contemporary peers in that it uses both hiragana and katakana. Most games from this era were one or the other. I then add how it would more likely be written using the full array of kanji that are commonly used in Japanese text. I put hiragana in white, katakana in brown, and kanji in blue. Then we have what each word piece means in a literal word-by-word transcription. And lastly, how it all comes together naturally in English by my interpretation. And by all means, comment and let me know if you disagree with any of them. That's how we all learn together. This isn't about memorizing vocabulary lists, it's about learning Japanese the way players experience it through story, context, and discovery. So Battle of Olympus is a fascinating game. It's an action RPG set in ancient Greece with tons of references to Greek mythology. It was released in the 1980s and clearly inspired by Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link. Like Zelda, it mixes side-scrolling combat, RPG-style progression, towns filled with NPCs, and hints that help you find items and the next places you need to go. The game gives you many paths at certain points, and it can be tricky to know where you need to be if you don't pay attention. It's a really fun game for learning Japanese. One of the most interesting things about this game is how it was localized into English. In the original Japanese version, the dialogue was a little bit more distinct in terms of the character voices. They used a lot more nuance in terms of the old speech patterns. There was a lot more, authority with the way the gods spoke. Villagers had some various elements. But even though this was by far not the worst translation, there are definitely areas where text has been simplified or shortened. And in some cases we lose a bit of nuance. By going back to the original Japanese text, we get to see what the real intended nuance was, and along the way, we'll pick up some real and usable Japanese. So, the breakdown is not just a translation, we're really trying to see how Japanese actually works in context. Why does a god use one pronoun while a villager uses another? And then how tone and politeness and emotion are encoded directly in the language. This is the kind of Japanese you don't really get from textbooks. The Japanese hints, threats, gratitude, grief, and triumph. As one of my early Japanese teachers explained to me, there are several politeness levels in Japanese. We don't study politeness level 1. However, in this game, they do use that, so as they do with most. When you played this game back in the pre-internet era, when guides and walkthroughs, instant answers, they were just not an option, you had to explore, you had to get lost, you had to talk to every NPC, and we wrote things down on paper, especially those endless passwords. Battle of Olympus was especially mysterious. It was a big and unforgiving feeling game. Your discoveries really did feel like a victory when you got them, because you really had to do it on your own. Revisiting now, though, with the lens of language, it's kind of almost like playing it again, discovering that whole extra layer that you never really got to see before. So we'll play through the game normally, but remember this is a pretty hard game. I've edited it to play through so that it's clean and to the point. You don't need to watch me die 50 times, especially in some of those later areas. And I'll speed things up for when it gets a little boring, where there's grinding. And I'll try to keep the text boxes up for a reasonable amount of time, but by all means, if you need to study it more, feel free to pause. If you're here to practice Japanese, I hope this will help you build more context and vocabulary. And if you're here for the nostalgia, welcome back to one of the strangest and most atmospheric action RPGs of the NES era. So let's get going. These guys really are irritating. You can't hit them with anything until they jump. If they jump at the wrong time, you get smoked. But they do provide those little mana chips, which restore your life. And of course, the red glowing olives, which are currency. Uikuyo, or uikoi, it's hard to say. Uikyo means fennel, so if you ever played the original game and the Staff of Fennel, it seemed like a funny name, but they literally do mean the herb. So it's a staff made of fennel wood, and I guess that has some significance in Greek mythology, so that, I guess, will be the first weapon upgrade that we need to find. At Attica is the sort of second place to go, but we're not ready to go there just yet. In every one of these regions, we have to meet the local god, get their little gift, which is typically some sort of power-up. So until that's done, I'm not done here in Arcadia. And when you see those kind of rooms, we're transitioning from one area to another. So here we have this giant boar defending the Temple of Zeus. And this is what the god chambers typically look like, and there's Mr. Zeus right there. It's nice to be able to just go and see him. For some reason, I'm struggling to get him to come. Usually you kneel and say talk, and then they come. Okay, there we go. He was just being a little cranky. So here we're learning about Zeus, Aphrodite, Hades. Apparently Hades is not in good standing with Zeus at the moment. So he's going to give me that power of lightning from Argus, which is, I guess, one of the Cyclopses, you know, the one that makes the lightning bolts for Zeus. But without the right sword, I have that power, but it can't actually call it. So this club is clearly not special enough. Ooh. That's always weird when they can get you from one side and not the other. There he goes again. Oh, this one's being annoying. There we go. If you go just walking full speed, they'll never hit you, they just kind of fall behind you. But then you don't get to collect mana chips or olives. This game is a little different from the English in one respect. So in this Japanese version, every time you die, you basically go back to the beginning of whatever area you're in, and you lose half your olives. In the English version, I believe there is an actual game over that, if I also recall, clears your olives back down to 0 and brings you back to the beginning. All the way to Arcadia? I can't remember, but it was very irritating. Very, very irritating. It actually made Tartarus almost impossible from my perspective. Tartarus being the realm of Hades at the end. So we're in this village here that is on the road to Attica. Oh, sorry, the road to Athens. A little bit of a mountainy place, multi-layered houses. The significance of this, so if you weren't aware that Gaia is the Earth, she's helping you out with that, because that becomes important later. I'm just going to try to pick up a few health chips. Don't want to get wiped out already. Nope, here we have the abducted child. Kind of an important trope, and yet another potentially borrowed idea from Zelda 2. Well, apparently Gaia is not nice to the townfolk of Olympus. But I guess since Gaia's asleep, I'll never have to worry about it. Now we're getting some idea about what our local deity is going to do for me. A shield seems nice. If funny thing is I'm holding a shield, as far as I can tell on the character, but the shield he's holding right now is actually decorative. There is no benefit to it that I've been able to determine. Alright, this nice little tunnel. Road to Athens, so here we are. Athens seems pleasant, albeit filled with satyrs and scorpions, which I would like to think the townsfolk might rather deal with. Wonderful weapons in theosis. It's going to be a while before we get there, though. That place is probably, in my opinion, the hardest of all of the areas, even though it is not the last one. But it brutalized me to no end. Helios. He is going to be helpful later. How will I prove who I am? I'm going to need to be vouched. Another thing that'll happen in a little while. Here we've found the lair of Athena in Athens. God of wisdom and war. Not the only war god that I'll be meeting. If I had come here first before meeting Zeus, though, she would have just been like, "Who are you? Go away." I needed that endorsement. Alright, and then the other nice thing is the gods will give me passwords, and those passwords will save my progress. This was a pre-battery game, so there was no saves. I tried to figure out if there was any compatibility between the Japanese passwords and the English ones. Tantalizingly, they have the same number of character options to enter, so it seemed like they could be just a swap out, replace. Unfortunately, in this game, the passwords are shorter than in the English version. Notice the arrows now just ping off my shield, as long as I let them hit the shield. Like Zelda again, whether you're crouching or standing, that impacts where the shield is going to protect you. This is a way in advance clue, and that's a multi-step process to get this said fire-protecting armor. Oh, here's that abducted child thing again. The vampire Lamia. We certainly can't allow that to continue. Fortunately, now that I have this fancy shield, I should be able to go and make short work of that. Another fairly advanced hint. It's going to be a bit before we get to that too. Ugh. Phrygia is a terrible place. A terrible place. Large fire-breathing snake there. There are actually, to be honest, several of them. But that's a problem for later as well. Okay, this one kinda sucks. She's really, really tough to, like, you kinda have to be here for your shield to work, or you have to get crazy lucky with the jumps. Or do that and get impatient. That doesn't always work, though. Alright, found the kid. And I guess he's just gonna hang out. He doesn't follow me, or I don't pick him up and, like an item the way Link does. I always thought that was a funny scene, holding the kid over his head. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. Alright, let's go talk to Mommy. Apparently, she is aware now that her son has been saved. And here's the Staff of Fennel. I can now beat up monsters with Herbwood, and it is, in fact, more potent than this club that I've been using up till now. There's also a secret ability to shoot fire out of this staff. Alas, at this point, I do not know the trick though. I'm gonna have to learn it. Let's get that equipped. You can see from the inventory screen there's plenty of opportunity to get more stuff. Every now and then an object falls on top of stairs, and you have to duck to get objects, but if you're on top of a stair, you're just gonna go down the stairs instead of picking it up. However, when you jump, you do a brief crouch when you land, so you can always jump on objects as well, if you're gonna have that problem. Alright, here back to Arcadia. It's time to head to our next adventure, which will be in the caves of Argolis. Following up on that rumor of a fellow there that can teach us how to shoot the fire out of our staff, amongst other handy little tricks. Hermes is there too, with his legendary sandals. So we'll want to pick those up. Argolis feels like a place we're going to return to a lot. So, I'm going to say no to that little piece of advice. It's kind of right, but if I go there now, everything's going to be particularly brutal, and I will encounter a barrier that I probably can't deal with, so both of these Argolis updates will make my life a lot easier. So many people want to tell me about this mysterious flask. Carrying nectar, though, is actually kind of a lifesaver, literally, so I will endeavor to get this flask. Ambrosia is also pretty handy. It extends my life bar. If I recall, there's 5 different places you can get ambrosia, and if you get them all, that life bar will fill the entire area up there. Alright, Argolis is not so lush as Arcadia was. Spend most of our time here in these caves. The nymphs are also important. We need to rescue them. And one of the nymphs has apparently been taken into the cave here. Unfortunately, I do not believe we are going to be able to get it just yet. We're learning a little bit more about these fire-protecting armors. Apparently I will need salamander skins. Alright, let's start with cave on the right. The left one I can deal with later. These bats are sucky. So, the ocarina has multiple purposes, apparently. That is the little boon we get from Poseidon later. So, beyond traveling the oceans, we can apparently wake up Earth gods, or Earth monsters, I suppose. There are, in fact, 2 coasts here that one can travel from. The Crete one is the one we're going to end up using eventually, but the other one that goes to Phrygia is actually, as far as I can tell, just a dead end. I can get to it from either side, but I can't actually cross it because there's this pit that's uncrossable. Salamander nest. That doesn't sound good. Except for if I need those skins, I suppose. And here we are, Temple of Hermes. But there's this guy here instead of the god. Hermes is not here. That's helpful. Summoned by Lord Zeus and has gone out. Here's an example of one of those less polite commands. So, lacking the ability to talk to Hermes, I guess I'm not getting them sandals. So one might think I just need to wait for Hermes to come back, but as these games are, that would never happen. He's gone forever, unless I go find him myself. Suspicious pillar there. That can become useful later. Alright, back here in Arcadia, gonna go and see talk to Zeus and say, hey, what's up? You want me to go talk to all these gods and then you make him go somewhere not where he's supposed to be? Explain thyself. And if you are one of those really attentive and observant folks, you'll notice my olive count is kind of all over the place. And like I said, hard game. When you die, you lose half your olives. Rather than show you many unsuccessful attempts to pass, I'm just going to give you the ones that work. So you might see my olives going all over. Only 2 hits this time, so the staff is definitely making a noticeable difference. Alright, Mr. Zeus, talk to me. You're not Zeus. Oh, here we go. Hermes is here. Well, at least he's not making me go on some epic journey to prove that these sandals are there. So, jumping higher is only part of the story here, but it is nice to have more oomph in my step. Sandals, in some cases, will also defy gravity in a more substantial way. And the forest is the perfect place to test it out. But not quite ready yet. One more thing we gotta do back in our go list. Pick the wrong tree every time. Alright, now that we're on the backside of Arcadia, it's a very well linked place, really. You've got the Attica, you've got Argolis, you've got Peloponnesus. Lots of places we can get to from here. Tempting to pick up a few more mana chips on my way. And managing to lose more than I'm getting. Always helpful. So, look at my generous life now. Secret Restore. I think I made it to the first bat, and bleh, I tried it the first through. Exactly another Zelda 2 thing. The way those bats function, exactly the same way they do in Adventure Link. Go down the pit. Okay, so here's the salamander pit. You'll notice we're going really fast because I have to grind and get myself my 20 salamander skins, but I also want to get enough olives to convince this old dude to sell me my first ambrosia. I am not really pumped about being at my minimum health bar. Always a little bit of a slog. Salamander pit's actually kind of dangerous, but 50 olives I think will do it. But it's not free in exchange for 50 olives. There isn't really anything you can buy in this game that isn't worth it, so let's do it. And there it is. My health bar has extended. Da, 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 da. Alright. Now let's tackle the left cave for the first time. A few things to do in here also, but not all of them are possible just yet. Here we go. We've been hearing about Prometheus. Depths of the cave. Because he's the only guy that knows how to shoot the fire, and I want the fire. Let's find this lion that's apparently keeping him captive. It's amazing how many people get kidnapped, isn't it? Dangerous place, this ancient Greece. Well, thank you for that tip, but too late. Already found and defeated them. It's a really exciting place for people to live. They really also want me to find these salamanders. They are dangerous. Alright, here we go, boss number 2. I'm not going to count that boar in Zeus's lair as a boss. This guy works very much the same way, though. He's just very fast. Gotta react like lightning. And there we go. The secret door. Hello, Prometheus. At long last, I've been waiting for this. Got it. Up button. I'm trying to shoot flames in front of a door. Doesn't work out. These bats are wretched. Ooh, I like that. Okay. Sandals, fire. I think we're ready for the forests of Peloponnesus. So one more time, making my way through Attica, or I keep saying that, Arcadia. Notice I can now walk in the forest canopy, thanks to my sandals. I think this would be easy, but it's a terrible grinding place just because I can't hit those things. One thing this game does lack that Zelda 2 had is the down thrust. I would love that here. Alright, enough of this. Okay, so this particular area is the first of our zones that is truly maze-like. It is so easy to get confused and lost here. There's a few sort of straightforward paths, but when you get into the main forest, it's just a mess of different layers that you can go through with very slight variation in coloring to help you a little bit, but only a very little bit. So you've got to look for all these little tree gaps. Each one of those is a air quote door. So most of them just lead from one layer to another, but a few of them do have little chambers where there's an NPC to tell us something or a gap to somewhere else. Ooh, a Hydra. Sounds far more significant than Lamia. Everybody loves dealing with multi-headed serpents that cannot die. It's going to turn out, though, I think that this one can be dealt with. Gray. We'll see those guys in a little while, too. I think those were another inspiration borrowed from Zelda. Without the flame, those spider webs become quite a nuisance. Oh, look at that. We have found another one of our gods. Definitely like harps. They don't really name this particular god. I want to say it's Apollo. I think that's the harp one, but I can't remember for sure, so that could be totally wrong. And the Pegasus can be handy once in a while. There's only a few of those sunstones that I can summon him from. I believe there's 3. But they do create some shortcuts that I didn't have before. I was mentioning Laconia. Pretty significant difficulty upgrade when we get there. This is one way to handle it. Just take out the bats from the ceiling. Uh-oh. I think this is a different Cyclops than the one that's given me his thunder power. Okay, so here's an example of one of the other areas we can get to. So I'm technically out of the maze right now. But those little green things, don't touch them! They're prickles. And as with most video games, thorns and swords, deadly. That's just a little hint. There's a few places in this game where if you hit something with your sword or with your club, whatever, things happen. So that little prickle that I just burnt, if I didn't have the fire, that would have been it. There would have been no progressing past that. And now we have another little switcheroo scene. Well, we've already heard about this nymph being taken to Argolis, but that's cool. Just in case we missed it the first time, I guess. People can see a lot from inside a tree, I've noticed. Oh, Hydra. Harassing the poor forest spirit. Sounds like I might have to deal with you. Another very Zelda 2 looking enemy. Unfortunately, his jumps are kind of unpredictable. Sometimes he goes farther, sometimes not. So, safest thing to do is just kind of stay back, wait for him to do a big far jump, and then I can get him. Just like that. Also can't help but notice there aren't that many heads on this Hydra. Kind of looks like he loses body segments every time I hit him. Or the head falls off or whatever. So I'm chopping off his head, but there's always another head. You just can't see them all at once. Ooh, that was a big jump. Sure takes a lot of hits, doesn't it? Keeps getting me. Alright, patience is the key. There he is. Okay, that was it. Finally. Now we have access to this other little door. Oh, and look at you. You look forest spirit-like. And just in case you're confirming that for me, I appreciate it. Eudora Hydra. This forest is still going to have a lot of very cranky monsters in it, despite the peace returning. Oh, a sword. Not what I would have necessarily immediately guessed that a forest spirit would have, but now that my weapons have been upgraded yet again, I can attack with even more vigor. The only challenge is when I'm using the sword, I no longer have access to my fire attack. So, always a compromise. And here we are back in the the thorn forest. And I don't have my flame, but I can jump over that thing now from that side. So we're all good. Back, knocking me into the prickles. Not nice. Alright, time to carry on. We're going to maybe visit this Cyclops that I keep hearing about. If those bats would stop harassing me. Important clue here. How do I get to the top of the tree, though? I would say this is probably one of the most missable things you can find in this game. Boom! I shook the tree by hitting with my sword, and now I have my second ambrosia upgrade. Look at all that health. You'll notice a little jump there. My first attempt at the Cyclops did not work out so well for me. So we're going to try it again. It's supposed to be some little trick where you can kind of like crouch below him and he can't hit you, but that doesn't ever seem to work out for me. So I just do it that way. And he's gone. And here is Laconia. A brutal upgrade in terms of difficulty. These little monkeys... Oh, there we go. I hit that pillar I wasn't supposed to hit. These little monkey things remind me so much of the Igors in Castlevania. Oh, they're awful things. They're just murder to hit. So I try to just avoid them taking advantage of my gravity, defying abilities. And here's that flask that I kept hearing about. So now I can acquire nectar. So anywhere where I've got like that water ponds that will restore my health, I can also fill up my jar, and I can carry a health restoration with me. Alright. Everybody here seems to live underground. And apparently so are the Grey. There's 3 bosses in this particular area, and each has something that I want. Not to mention the flask, and Poseidon. This is actually a very treasure-full area, even though it's not the biggest one. I guess that's why it's so much more challenging. The golden apple, I want that very badly. That cuts all the damage I receive in half, and it is truly one of the worst things to get in terms of difficulty, but I don't have to worry about that yet. That is not here in Laconia. So we heard in Argolis about the flask being washed from there towards Laconia. Here he's telling me that it came ashore by a big wave. I guess that's telling us how it came to be way up on the top of the temple. Apparently, that Kelios fellow that we've been talking to knows where there's a nymph, or has one. That'd be kind of convenient if all I have to do is go to his house. If I can somehow prove I am who I say I am. Yeah, the siren sucks. Apparently the harp will nullify her abilities. If I can pause from being spazzy enough to actually remember to use it. ... Apparently I need fire in the cave. Fire in the hole! Great! powerful knight guarding Crete, I believe. It's probably referring to the Minotaur. Legendary beast of the Labyrinth of Knossos. Ooh, that would have been sneaky. It is dark in here. Oh, and we have another Cyclops. How amazing. There better be something good in here. Got a little pattern to him. Throw rock, run, jump over rock. Wham! Throw rock. Throw rock. Jump over rock. Wham! Throw rock. Jump over rock. Wham! Oh. Ooh, and an ambrosia. Look at that. 3 of them already. And a place to fill my nectar pot. Which I actually think the ambrosia was much more useful. But no reason not to take them both, I guess. And let's get out of here. Alright, so Poseidon is a little bit less generous than some of the other gods. He's going to require some tribute. So I'm just going to take advantage of these little guys down here because they're relatively mellow and plentiful to build up my olive collection before I go and try to meet with Mr. Poseidon. Because otherwise I will have to just come back anyway. Avoid the onslaught coming at me there. But found the hidden chamber. Let's get in here. More darkness. Not too many choices here, but it is the dark and gloomy lair of Poseidon. Why, yes, thank you, I do say so myself. So if you are following all the clues, finding this place isn't actually that hard, but it can be a little bit tricky to remember all of those things. So when I played this game the first time, it took me an entire weekend. Non-stop. And here we are, less than an hour in. And we've already conquered a good chunk of Laconia. I don't think I even made it here in the first day I tried playing it before. Hephaestus has a divine sword in Nightmare Land. Theotis. Notice even the sort of romangified, whatever version of the names that they show on the map are a little different than they were in English. Didn't really mean to go back to Peloponnesus there. Oh well. I'm sure it was a short walk. Alright, now that I've got the ocarina, let's go and visit across the ocean a little bit here. Land ho! Looks like we found a little island with some ruins on it, and a nasty, nasty harpy. Keeps humming and making me come towards her. And I totally did forget to use the harp. Look at that. Oh well. No matter. And now the gray. They seem very Zelda 2 Riz-Roby to me. Right down to what their magic spells look like. The only difference is they don't seem to get hurt by the reflection of their magic back at them, so I still have to get close and hit them with the sword. And they're kind of intense. Of course, there's 3 of them. Gotta get them all. Little bits of progress. Haven't actually finished any of them yet, though. Yikes! Let's maybe use a bit of nectar, shall we? Alright. Now that I'm a little safer again, let's try. Ooh, there we go, got one! Or 2. I'm only seeing one of them showing up now. Scrape on his head instead of actually hitting him. That's great. Boom! Ooh, and here's the crystal ball. Crystal ball is cool because now I can make some secret doors appear. There aren't that many places where I can use it, but it is now opened up a few opportunities for me that I did not have before. Another person wanting me to do the salamander skins, Circe and Crete. So each time they're giving me a little bit more information, but at least I have my 20 skins. So when I get there, that part's looked after. Okay, this time I did mean to go to Peloponnesus. Gotta make my way back to Argolis now. Not right. That's not the right way. Where am I? See, this forest is confusing, even when you get it all figured out. And then here's that stupid spider web. You can't even really burn it when you're stuck in it, because the flame will just go over it. There we go. There we go. Back to the Arcadia entrance. Might have been faster if I just used the Pegasus from Laconia. But oh well. And the wrong door again. There we go. Better. Okay, now that we're back in our Golas, I'm prepared to go find the first nymph that we keep hearing about getting dragged in here. Alright, first use of the crystal. Boom! Secret door! Yay! Nymph number 1. Now we're getting explained why the person in Peloponnesus could see this nymph getting dragged away. Mean old Cyclops. Ooh. What does part of love look like? My dear love has been taken all the way to Laconia. I was just there. I didn't see her. I guess the poisonous snake and the slipping away from life gave Hades the opportunity to swoop in. Can you believe it? Oh no! Fortunately, Aphrodite is being very nice and providing her nymphs as messengers. Sure, I'll take your love, why not? Those Tishtas, henchmen, I will indeed. It's quite a place to live. Oh, look at that. As long as that barrier's there, then I don't have to worry about it. Got a few stages to go through before I'm going to try dealing with Crete, though. So having rescued the first nymph, and receiving that fragment of love, and the letter, that might be just enough to convince Kelios that I am, in fact, who I say I am. So let's take this convenient little route here. This Pegasus post will take me right back to, basically, Kelios' house in Attica. And nicely and conveniently, I have my flask refilled. Okay, scorpions die. Immediately. I haven't been doing such a great job at this, But here's a password just in case anybody else is wanting to play this version and would like to catch up to this general spot. I'll try to do that a little more often, but I don't always remember. Alright, Mr. Kelios, impress me. Where's this nymph? Ew. Garden of Hesperides. It sounds nice, but in reality, I recall that being quite a nightmare. And a key. I guess that's helpful. I don't know why yet. I guess there's a door locking the nymph in. Just grinding my way a little bit. Nothing major. For some reason it's just fun to kill these guys. Maybe procrastinating just a little bit from the hell that I know is coming. Alright, back to Eleusis. We haven't really gone down this way yet, for a specific reason. This suspicious looking thing sitting here that just is there and inert. I can walk there if I want, but it's not going to respond. I guess that NPC did say something about an ocarina, waking it up, and there we go. This is a very Cyclops-like monster in terms of how it's working. Oh dear. You can climb. That's rough. And here I am just making sure I'm spazzing out in every way so I don't even hit it once. Yeah! Once again, thank goodness for nectar. I have to calm myself a little though and do a bit better. Yeah, he's up here now. Oh well, that's it. All done. And now there's a new door. Ugh. Like I said, I'll take Crete or Forget any day over this place. Thank goodness I got on the stair before he hit me, otherwise I would have been flung right off. And that's really the trick with this thing. Everything throws you off an edge, so it doesn't even matter how many life points you have, because you just get flung around everywhere. Can't even take the time to kill anything because someone else will come and get you. At least there's this handy dandy fountain. So the version you're going to see here is pretty streamlined. I think I probably spent like at least an hour working my way through this because, you know, it's just kind of brutal and sucky. Okay. This particular god is Hephaestus, is another one that is rather greedy, so I'm going to have to acquire some olives before I can move forward. So let's grind. There's a couple little of these pill bugs here that I guess we'll just have to do to help me get up there. They're not particularly generous either, so it does take some time to work up the oribu, or olives, that I'm going to need. So, as long and tedious as this seems in fast motion, just imagine what it was like to do it at normal speed. Getting closer though. I think it was 60 that I needed. Oh, it was 70. Oh well. Getting closer. Alright, Hephaestus. Alright, Hephaestus. Make this worth my while. All these gods, you'd think they could get their own olives. But I guess where's the fun in that, right? Ooh, that does give me lightning ability. So that is nice. I've got the best weapon in the game. And now I'm not as worried about losing the fire because I have my lightning. So, in the garden, there is in fact a couple things I need to do. One of them is more on the entrance to the garden. Alright. Let's find my way back. Little detour here. This gentleman has for me something that I want. Ambrosia number 4! So there's only one more left. But that's definitely got my life loaded up much better. It's time to make my way to the garden. So that was fun. And very representative of what this level is like in general. At least the birds only take one hit now. Because they are wretched. And of course, thank you. So I'm just going to go through here to reset my entry point. So if I die again, I come here, I don't have to worry about going back to Hephaestus. Oh my goodness. Another sun pillar, so this is another place where I can summon the Pegasus. That would be very disappointing to do right now, because I'm trying to get somewhere. Birds are ridiculous. Not a ton of NPCs here, but at least a few. Yeah, a little surprising, right? With that earth monster blocking the door. Golden apple sounds really good. Where is it? A giant serpent, come on. Can't anything just be, like, there? You'll notice a little jump there, because again, this stupid thing is just aggravating. Not even worth killing. Just move on. Now this waterfall's tricky. There's two doors there. You can go in the upper one or the lower one. They're essentially the same. They just kind of take you across. The only thing being up here, there's one little extra. In the form of this door. And then this locked place that opens because I have the key. And we have nymph number 2. Nice and quick relative to the first one. Took a long time to get there. This one waiting in Laconia. Oh yeah, those gray. Well, they're gone now. So was the Cyclops, I guess, that captured the first one. My second heart. And my second letter from my beloved. All those terrible monsters indeed. It's been quite the ordeal. Hades just can't take her love. Get a lot of advice on where to find the entrance to Tartarus, so it tells me now, it reminds me many times later, so I don't have to worry about it. I just do not want to deal with the garden without full life, so there was a quick little grind. These butterflies, I hate them. I hate them, and I also hate them. I quite hate them even. I also really hate them. They are truly hateful because I hate them. I really hate them, actually. As pretty as they are, I hate them. The flowers, on the other hand, could be a nuisance, but they're actually not too bad, so I don't hate them. But the butterflies, I hate them. Fortunately, they only appear in the first scene. Now that I passed them, just the flowers. Flowers are fine. And we hear the little notification tick, 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 that the boss is here, and he sucks. Believe it or not, this guy's actually pretty easy once you get the pattern down. I like to hit him when he's on an upswing. When I hit him on a downswing, he usually gets me, but on the upswing, he's usually pretty gettable. It does take a ridiculous amount of hits, though, so I'll just have to keep working him down. And this is even with the fancy sword, man. Ouch! Nectar, thank you. Alright, golden apple. For some reason it kind of brought my health down and then filled it back up. I guess that's because it sort of secretly doubled my hit points. So my original hit points were only half. And now, even though it shows the same number of bars, each bar is worth twice as much health. So, effectively, I've halved the amount of damage that I'm visibly taking from enemies. I think I forgot, but I hate these butterflies. Alright. This time, let's take the low road. Not really anything different over here, but maybe a little faster. And also kind of the only option because you can't really get back up there on the other going this direction. Oh, and this stupid centaur again. Don't care for it. How hyperactive that thing is. Okay, get off of me! Stupid little thing. Oh my god, it's still after me here. Move! Get me out of this place. Back to Laconia. Right, this time, we're gonna have to sail all the way over here to Crete. You may have noticed a slight change in olive count and all that, because Crete is expensive. And kind of hard. Another majorly mazy one. But here we go. I've never been to Crete. Heard it's beautiful though. Alright, we have this friendly little stabby guy guarding the door, but I do not wish to deal with him any further, so bye-bye. So again, like the forest, pretty much all of these doors just lead to a different set of hallways with different colors to kind of help you a little bit figure out where you are. But there are a few NPCs. Frugia next. I guess that's the only one I haven't gone to yet, so it makes sense. Ooh, these things are annoying. I told you we need olives. Two greedy folks here that I need stuff from. Where are my olives? My technique here is pretty fun, I think. Let's just never stab at anybody and run into them. Just masterful. But honestly, with all their shields and stuff, they're such a pain in the butt that it's not really even worth it to try. Just let them chase after me. So here we go. Mr. Ares, sir, how are you? So I told you there was another god of war. So Athena also claimed to be such. Yeah, give me that power base thing. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Oh, not for free, of course not. Everything gets so expensive. But my attack power has just doubled, so worth it. How irritating. It's completely and totally making that door inaccessible. Oh my god! This is kind of getting ridiculous. And then it's not even the right door. Oh man. Oh, there we go. That's better. Phew, that was quite the timing. Left, left, right, left. Hidari, Hidari, Miki, Hidari. Those are very clear directions. And once you get to the entrance of Tartarus, of course, they make sense. But easily forgotten if you're not careful to write things down. And finally, the salamander shield. Been carrying those skins around ever since that first trip to Argolis. Those halcyon memories. Looks like my inventory page is getting pretty full. Only one more slot left. I'm glad there's so many of these little nectar refills. The barrier that was mentioned. This barrier will only release if I have 2 of the hearts. Now here's this mean old dude. Nothing I can do except hit him in the ankle. And he does not make it super easy to do that with these stupid axes. Boom, and one more door, thank you. And the third and final nymph. Tartarus, you say? I thought we were just talking about it and I wasn't actually going to have to go deal with that place. Alright, let's see this miracle of love. Pretty sure she did that in her last letter, so I guess confirmed. I guess that wasn't the third and final nymph. We have more. Not sure what help they will give me in Tartarus, but I guess whatever help there is, I'll take it. Anyway, let's make my way to Phrygia. For some reason, when I kind of look at facts and blogs, they always sort of freak out about how hard Phrygia is. But honestly, I kind of don't think it holds even a small candle to Phthia, and I think even Crete's a little harder. But it is a crazy maze. So that part sucks. Here we have the entrance to Tartarus, but I'm not wanting to go there yet. Things would go very poorly. So, fun. There, oh, I think I missed her the first time around. More discussion of this flask, which I've had for a long time. I guess we might as well let Hermes give me a new password. Promised I would try to do that more. But there's a sea route to Phrygia from here that is inaccessible. So I feel like it's something that maybe didn't get fully programmed and they forgot to seal it or something, because there's absolutely no function right now except this just sort of death trap. So I'm gonna have to go back to Attica to get there. Perfect opportunity right here. Nothing like another romp through Athens. Getting smoked by these stupid little scorpions. Good news is, I think I have everything now that I need to collect olives for. So the grinding part of the game is over-ish. Remember way back here? Rescuing the little kid from Lamia? Well, this little bit of ocean actually goes somewhere. Phrygia, however you want to pronounce this place. Another beast that is not even worth bothering to kill because it is such a pain in the butt. So this place is essentially 2 screens, indoors and outdoors. Honestly, I don't find these gargoyles that threatening. These snakes are annoying, but they're kind of the same as everywhere. But here's that giant serpent we were warned about. They're kind of a pain, but also kind of manageable if you use the lightning in a clever way and just dodge those little fireballs. Not much in the way of NPCs here either. So I certainly don't have to spend time going into each and every door. That said though, there's non-zero. I'm trying to take a reasonably direct route. This diversion is to just fill up my nectar though. One doesn't want to have to deal with depleted health in a place like this. Another one bites the dust. That was lucky. Down and down and down we go. Another snake. Love every time you start getting some hits on one, the other one comes and gets you. Thank you for noticing. This was a lot of trouble. And he's gonna give me the final ambrosia. My life bar is now fully and completely complete. That combined with the golden apple, orders of magnitude more health than I had at the beginning. It's kind of cheap how this game kind of makes you defenseless when you're on stairs. And there is absolutely no way to avoid this guy while on that. So mental note, don't go in that door. So then you're stuck behind the snake forever. the narrow little tower. And this door looks suspiciously important. And here we go! Finally, Artemis, goddess of the moon. So what is this special item you have for me? A moon crystal. And one more password. Now that we've achieved pretty much the entirety of the collection of what can be done outside of Tartarus. Not that there's really new items to get in Tartarus. Ooh, I actually hit him. That's cool. See? Trap. Can't do anything there. Have to go back to the other door. At least it's not too far. Alright, back here at basically the beginning. Now, just gotta make my way back to Tartarus. And again, the wrong door. Just can never, ever get the right tree. On the ocean again. Just can't wait to swim on that dolphin. Alright, here we go. The door to Tartarus. So here is where that left, right, left clue comes in. If you do that wrong, you end up fighting a boss and kind of losing your progress a bit. This guy is a little bit more challenging than you might think, but also, once you get the pattern down, pretty easy. If you beat the one head, it does come back if you don't take him out pretty quick. So you kind of have to just get into a pattern where you are smacking him in the face over and over again enough times to make that happen. And then you get the door, and now we're in Tartarus proper. Oh, well, they did mention there'd be some nymphs to help me. And health restored. Alright, there's sort of two doors here. This one on this upper branch is a little bit of a sneaky one, but that's the one we want to use. Help us continue on through the forest. Trying to get that bat to come down, because I didn't really want to deal with it. Oh, this works too. Beautiful young woman. Well, it's a nice place to get a password, even if it isn't directly from the gods. Alright, now I've gotten to a little separate area. So if I recall, in the North American version, you get smoked a few times, you get a game over, and then it's all the way back to the beginning. This version, since they don't really do game overs, they just do, you die, you lose half your olives. They have checkpoints throughout Tartarus, so every time you change theme of an area, you can basically start from there. So now that I've made it into this sort of temple-y spot, I don't have to go back to the forest anymore. And even though you won't necessarily see it with the way I'm editing this, that's a big deal. This took me forever. There's a little sidetrack here just to visit one of the other nymphs. Get my nectar refilled. She doesn't actually restore my health. Didn't think to try it, but I guess maybe I could have just used the nectar and then had her refill it again. I'm not sure if that works on one go through or not. And there's another checkpoint. So now I'm in the cave area. So this is my new starting point if I should bite the dust. This part wasn't too hard, so it didn't really take that many tries. Oh no, not to stone. I'm too late. But another health restore is fine by me. Now these guys are super annoying. They kind of like to swarm. Another level checkpoint, so now I've got another place saved. This is actually the final spot. This is also where things get a little more serious. Personally hate this thing, but not like the butterflies. Those I hate. Hate, 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 hate. Can't remember if I mentioned that I hate the butterflies who are in 5th year. Alright, so just going to pick up a few olives here, because I really want a full nectar to go and take on Hades with. I have somebody here that seems to be a disciple or something of Hades, or part of Hades' crowd. But not a super loyal one, since he'll sell me my stuff. So nothing much to do except just make my way through the maze here. Getting closer and closer. Alright, this should be the final boss. So I just used the moon crystal to make his shadow appear, and I basically need to hit him in the head a bunch of times. And hopefully do it without getting myself hit too many times. Easier said than done. And if you've ever played Zelda 2, as we've been talking about, you might notice another potential inspiration. At least it's not a shadow of myself. And if I would stop jumping on his head and slash him in the head instead, I think that would probably work out better for me. Got him enough times, he's visible now. Which, believe it or not, actually does make this a little bit easier. Alright, let's nectar her up. Alright, you must stop hitting me. I am not accepting this. Oh boy. And he's done! Woohoo! That Hades is no more. The land of Tartarus is without a leader. And my fragments of love coalesce and undo the spell of stone. And my lovely lady is no longer stone. She can open her eyes, yet she is not feeling tempted to move her legs or arms in any way. But it is wonderful to hear about all this gratitude that she's grateful for. Let's go back to Ellis in Arcadia and be peaceful forever. And there they are, enjoying the sunrise in what looks like it might be Laconia, looking over the ocean. So that's that. That's Battle of Olympus, or Olympus no tatakai, and with our guided translation. So if you've enjoyed this, remember to like and subscribe. Feel free to use the video description to jump around at any point if you want to see any particular part of the video. And always stay tuned. Let me know if there's anything else you would like to see done in this kind of way. Lots of other games on my channel if you want to keep looking at things and learning Japanese with me. Thanks for watching.